Hi everyone, inspired to make this quick video. It's been a while to kind of share again some of the key questions that have been simmering in the field. I want to begin, of course, by wishing all of us a very happy full moon today. And today's full moon is really significant in the sense that we celebrate it as the full moon in the month of Vaishak, which is Buddha Poornima time, the time when Buddha was born and he got enlightened, and also that that's when he moved on from his form as in the body. So it's celebrated everywhere, and kind of a more energetic significance of that. Generally when we say it's Buddha Poornima and that Buddha got enlightened, right? Every state of mind, right, is a lens and naturally interprets and translates life, that which it is, from its own self and its own perception that is determined by the level of awareness and its own vibration. So when we think of Buddha Poornima, just sharing with somebody that we think that it's about this form, and which is a valid story for the Dwapar Yuga state of mind, right? That there is this person who was Buddha, who lived many years ago, and he was born on this day, and he got enlightened sitting under the Bodhi tree, and of course also moved on. So this full moon is really auspicious for that, and we remember this entity named Buddha, and who reminded us of our Buddha nature, they say. But energetically, as a state of consciousness, which is our truer reality, there is a very deep significance at the level as time, and the movement of consciousness as cycles. And this full moon, which is also called as the flower full moon, right? And it's in the month like at springtime, is because energy, if you look at it at the level of cycles, is really coming into its full bloom. So anything that all is energy, right? And there is a peaking of it. And as we know in yoga, that's why we are at the time of Uttarayana, right? Dakshinayana is when end of June till winter solstice. And from winter solstice, we shift into Uttarayana phase. And that is why we call it the Kaivalya Pada, the time of enlightenment, the time of awakening. That which has ripened truly comes to light, right? It cycles like that. That is how at the linear level, even energetically at the linear level, at the level of cycle, consciousness experiences itself growing, coming into more of itself, right? So at this point in the Kaivalya Pada, right, Uttarayana phase, it's the tail end, because end of June, summer solstice, the shift begins again, right? Shifts into Dakshinayana. So Uttarayana time is coming into that full bloom, right? So we experience that at this time. So this full moon and the coming into this full moon, if you look at the last 2 weeks as well, you'll really see a lot that has been brewing in comes to light. So to allow for it, because that which is over comes to light, and we just see it and allow it to move. And that which is also the light, the new light, that is seen from the new level of awareness, that allows us to see more of our truer self, one may say, also comes in at this time. So it's really like the beauty of consciousness in full bloom, and that's why it's celebrated, right? So that's the time. So if you look at it energetically, this is what it is. like Buddha's enlightenment time, is that this is the time that we are able to see closer and closer. And I'm speaking in the context of Dwapar Yuga state of mind, okay, which is duality. And that means consciousness is still identified as a person. So one may say at that time we see deeper aspects, truer aspects to ourselves, right? We see the beliefs that we may be carrying, right, that come to light. Say, okay, I was moving as this and that's not true for me really. I had taken on, and things like that, right? Like the unraveling of that. But at the other level, where we are collectively right now, this transformation and coming into what we may call as the awakening, right? Waking up to our true self, which is the paradigm shift. It is not the linear growth, right? It is the shift completely of seeing that I was identified as this thought, as an idea, moving as if I'm the body. Like the level of awareness and vibration was such that it's denser. That is consciousness, that which we are, is vibrating and therefore experiencing at that level as if it's the body. So our level of awareness is only through this body, right? So whatever the five senses think. So we naturally think that we are the body, and reality is almost like these two parts, right? There's an inner me and the outer world, right? That's the game that is played. But then this waking up, what we call, is as waking up to seeing that we are not the body, we never were. We are awareness that was experiencing itself, right? That awareness which one may even call as the soul, solar, the nature of light, nature of consciousness, being conscious, right, was vibrating at a point where we were experiencing ourselves as if we are the body, right, taking on conditions, and of course the separate self, the thinking mind and the body, both are one and the same, two sides of the same coin, and moving as that mind. And this time we are collectively in that new era, and there's a rapid acceleration and waking up to that aspect of us. And that is the significance of this full moon. So at this level of a cycle, in this new era, this time frame, of course, as we know, as energy, it's not any one date, right, in that sense. But why do we say, if you look at the cycle, especially the moon calendar and stuff, every time moon is connected to emotion, moon is connected to our psyche, our soma, our relative experience at the level of the body, right, emotions, energy in motion. So it really, whenever the waxing phase of the moon coming into fullness, it allows for more light, right? The sun is the awareness, and it takes on the light of that fully on itself. So the ability to see, right? And then when, and I'm speaking in the terms of as if it's happening, but that is not really the case. That's the illusion of how the five senses will experience it. And I'm also going to address that here, because I often get the question of, enlightenment, and offer my experience of that, right, in that sense. So it looks like the enlightenment, so coming into full moon. So if we are ripe at that point, which at the collective level we are moving, there's a paradigm shift. This full moon, this time, right, this cycle, these days allow for that instant awakening and seeing, I'm not my body, I'm not my thinking thoughts, I'm the still silent awareness. That which doesn't change, that which is changing is appearing within the light. my core nature, as that mind is not changing, is that light that allows, it's conscious, that allows, and that's why it's primary. In this context, I really want to share, because there's also questions coming up, and I think one also posted here, which was like, our natural, right, when we are in the Dwapar Yuga state of mind and we're experiencing linear time, and this known mind is living, anything that is with the known thinking mind, the nature of mind is that it can only think in the framework naturally of what it is living. So when it is linear time space and it experiences living as a becoming, as if it happens in time, right? The play of attaining, gaining knowledge, all of that. Naturally, we frame the question also of enlightenment and things like that at the spiritual level as if that is something that we are doing to attain. Enlightenment cannot be attained. It's not something we can work towards and that it happens. Although for the knowing mind, it experiences it and can frame it in those words. Light, that which we are as awareness, is primary. Right? Before anything else, the I am needs to exist as mind. If there is no light, if there is no conscious awareness, nothing exists. It is the ground upon which even the thought, the linear thought is thought. It is the ground upon which, within which, the body appears, the world appears. That everything that is changing. I am that. I am is that self. That reality. That does not change. That is something that is attained. So whenever, a question is put forth like, are you enlightened? In the question lies two parts. First, who is the you that is being perceived? Right? That you that is being defined and that is being perceived, that the question is coming from, that state of mind. That mind needs to be looked at. And also, what is the definition of enlightenment for that mind? I always say, when we've been on this journey as well, everybody has different definitions for enlightenment. Some people, let's say, have siddhis, right, are able to do things which unbelievable for the Dwapar Yuga state of mind, levitate, whatever, right? And that comes across for some people as enlightenment. They're enlightened if you can do that. Some people can speak very, very well, knowledgeable with certain times, and then that can come across as enlightenment. So there are many definitions and many ideas we hold about what is enlightenment. But enlightenment at the core, and of course every mind is offering its own expression, that's how it works. Enlightenment, the core, is simply in light. Consciousness. And consciousness is primary. Ultimately, you'll see the secondary also is the illusion that is played on the primary. But all there is consciousness, and that is primary. That is not something that is attained or happens. So enlightenment, that is why, is something that cannot happen. Enlightenment already is. So consciousness is the light. Enlightenment is. Although at the level of the relative level, enlightenment can play in the illusion of being identified as a body, right? And for this, I'll really leave it with the quote of one of my teachers that I say, which is Ramana Maharshi, where he says, the fact that you are not enlightened, or one is not enlightened, is the biggest obstacle to realizing that I already am. Because nobody can refute the fact of the I amness. And I amness is the self, the light. And therefore, the invitation in all my videos, of course, just this is simply the joy and sharing of this journey as it moves through, right, as it's called. But the ultimate invitation, that's why for the Dwapar Yuga, seeking mind, and when we look outwards, which is a natural, right, I want to name, all of us have gone through it. Whereas when we are identified as the five senses, we are going to do what the five senses are doing, which is looking outwards for the answer as if it lies outside of us. All answers, we are the very answer, because the answer is consciousness, right? It lies within. So, in my experience, I'll tell you, the key of all of this is that even when we look outside, in the end, take the invitation for everything to go within. It doesn't matter what perceivably on the outside looks like, who's enlightened, who's not. What is happening on the outside, because they are all unique interpretations, ideas. I mean, the reason I'm saying this is because this is the direct path to go within. Because otherwise the mind is facing outwards, always looking outside. And what we are being called to right now, really, is to actually go within. That is the knowing. That is the true knowing that comes from within. Right? So, leave all that and look at the nature of the I, the mind, that is asking this question, or that is looking outside for the answers. That is the direct path. Because beyond words and pointers like this, it can only take us that far. They're simply pointers, right? And at the end of the day, our own so-called experience, it's not linear time experience, it's a timeless, because it's instant, right? That's why when we wake up, right, to that which we are, it's instant. It's not a becoming. It's not like we did practice and then we became enlightened. The practice is only for the body, the thinking mind, that helps with for the level of the awareness, for the body to become still, so that we can see. But that seeing, that's why we say, is a matter of grace. That which we already are. Right? So, stay within. Go within and see the nature of the mind, to be with that. And that's why the practice of meditation, stillness, or even at the other level where I really say, it's easier said than done, especially if you're a seeker, it's not going to stop. It has its momentum, but to just enjoy, because we are life, and what needs to be seen, perfection, will be seen at the right time, right? Because we are life, we are soul. Soul is living as a person, right? And of course, if it's experiencing the seeking, it's experiencing that too. So, but that's the direct path, right? And that's why know thyself. Let everything be a pathway to turn inwards. That's the direct path. So, it coming in terms of even enlightenment, that's why Buddha nature. There's a story. That's why it says, the one who looks like Buddha acts like Buddha, right? I don't know where I read it, but it's coming up right now. So, it is like the one who is like Buddha and acts like Buddha. Be very, very wary of that. That's what the story goes like. And that is so true in so many ways, because the true self of our nature, the Buddha nature, as the Dwapar Yuga state of mind thinks, right? Because we look at people and we see this from the outer. The outer is an illusion. When we are in the Dwapar Yuga state of mind, we see something from outside, but we really cannot see the inner state of anybody till we don't get to that, in that sense, right? That's the space from which we can sense. But Buddha nature is that I am awareness. And it doesn't show up as one way of being. In and as presence, it may flow anyway. It's very unique. It will flow as a unique expression. When we wake up, we might become even more creative, even more expressive, which might seem like even more talkative. It's like this burst of energy that is coming forward. But now it's not coming from the thinking mind and its ideas of becoming and everything. It's just like every flower is so different, right? But it's true to what it is. It's like that, right? Or so awakening can cause it to just otherwise also become absolutely still, quiet, silent. You might just get up and start dancing. It's not predictable because it's not an idea, it's not a concept. Right? So when we even speak of Buddha, that's why. Very key point to know is that we already are. Our nature is Buddha nature. We're simply at the level of this vibration, which is simply an illusion. We are playing. Buddha is playing as an idea, as a condition that it's taken on, so therefore as a person. And when we see this, changes everything. Right? So even for a Dwapar Yuga state of mind, the invitation, see everything and everyone already as the perfection, as embodied divinity, because that is what it is. It's the same one self. There is nothing apart from consciousness, so there's only one. We only meet ourselves, we only see ourselves, we are only playing with ourselves. That's the beauty of it, and that's why completely our relationships change, our way of being and doing changes, because there's a deep intimacy. Right? There's no, one may even say, defensiveness or anything, because we're only meeting ourselves. And that sense is a divine intelligence. Right? It's not that only the intellectual mind, it is awareness, and it cannot be pointed at. And so from this, the inspiration for this video, apart from the full moon, was the questions that have been coming up. And some questions come up all the time that I kind of see as a sign, and I can sense it, right? It's an energetic thing. Is what is intuition, right? We are right now deepening into age of Aquarius. It's a done deal, right? That's another thing that I want to say. That's why, don't try too hard. It's already happening. So every moment, see, how am I already aware? How am I already awake? Is for the Dwapar Yuga state of mind, right? Somebody's asking intuition, because age of Aquarius, that's why each true self, each perceived body mind, each expression, appearing form is a unique expression, right? Within the seed is the potentiality for it to grow into that. Like a seed of a rose plant will grow into a rose plant. That's its nature. Right? So similarly, consciousness at the manifest level will blossom into that itself. Now that cannot come from outside. Pointers may come from outside because it's the same self reminding another, perceived another. It can happen. But the age of Aquarius, all is an invitation to come within ourself and sense. The Dwapar Yuga state of mind, vibration, I've shared a lot about it, is a denser vibration. And that's why it only can sense its what it thinks is its thoughts. That is gross level. The thoughts of the five sensory mind senses as a separate self is denser, gross. It sees very limited. It understands and perceives. It's not sensitive to see behind the words, to see behind the form, right? The subtlety of it. So that's why the ultimate, any practice that we pick, doesn't matter, whatever resonates, ultimate end, goal end of that practice is to come into stillness, right? Be still and know, I am God, right? Similarly, Sthiram Sukham Asanam, Atha Anushasanam. It's all about the invitation of, in many ways, stilling the body. Because in the way that the body and the mind become still, or even otherwise becomes open and available, suddenly that subtle sensing happens. And that subtle sensing is intuition. And that's why for the thinking mind that is running in linear time, past, future, thinking all the time, we say come into the body. Because the body is here now. Many practices, little ones that I've shared, keep your attention in the belly. We go somewhere, we are waiting, right? Let's say grocery line at red lights. Be in the body, present. Feel. That can be helpful. Brings us into presence. The more even we are aware at the subtle level of the body, being in the body, that creates the gateway. That's the feminine. So, these kind of things. That is what allows for intuition. So there are even one way one may say that's the sixth sense, right? From five senses, sixth sense. But there also there's level. One level is where as we start coming into the body, we say really coming in, there is that gut feeling, right? Intuition. So then somebody else was asking, what is that one thing? And that's why I say in all my videos, in the end, all this talk, that's the expression of this body mind, loves to explore and see. It sees, right? And brings that forth. But in the end, it's very simple. Simply being. Be aware. I think in my last video itself I've shared about that as well. What does it mean to be aware? There are two states to that as well. You can go ahead and take a look at that, but simply being aware. Just be aware. So I am. That is all it is. So that's why for the thinking mind, the first step would be become present. Come to where you are. Here, now. And from that, becoming aware of in the body, as the body. Right? Becoming still, being present, even when we are doing, to be present with what we are doing, where we are. That allows us the gateway. Right? The more present we are. And in that, we can sense what this intuition is. The more and more that deepens, then that awakening happens. And so in the present moment, so I always share with somebody, that's why intuition, at least definitely not in the beginning, where the intuition doesn't happen as a thought in linear time. It happens in the body, in the present moment. Where do we meet anything? It's here. When we become presence with someone, with the environment. That's why I love this nature, right? You're in nature, absolutely. Then there is no separation, there are no two. This, I'm sitting under this beautiful tree, if you can really see. And I have this beautiful body of water, two things really, right? Age of Aquarius. I don't know if you can see. I'm sitting here. So when we become absolutely still and quiet and just aware, there comes a point when you are one. The awareness that you are is the waters, is the tree, is the air, is the bird, is that turtle. And then you are one with everything. And that is intuition. That is knowing. Then you know the deeper aspect of life that you cannot put into words. And it's a direct experience. So what is the first step to that? To this intuition? Is that come into the body. To just sense and play with this. Allow all of this. It's so magical. And it can only be play. And that's why it's saying somebody's coming with like a sense of angst. And it can only be play. You really know you are already consciousness. Then you can hold this experience with a lightness. Whatever happens, it's fine. I already am. Right? Then it's fun. Then you can stand in that space, that whatever comes up that is even experienced as a struggle or whatever of that story of the mind and its story and the body can be held in the right light and allowed to be seen in the right light. Right? Allowed to be, what we say is let go. There's no letting go. It's just seeing it with clarity for what it is. Right? And then playing with the new that is arising. Right? Because you're constantly going to be, consciousness plays in and with and as identities. Pure play. That's the invitation. Right? So kind of if it helps, and of course we are all consciousness, so there's no right or wrong in this. We get to do it our way. We'd like to call, play with it. So we can just kind of share with that, share regarding that. And then most important, that's why that Buddha. So you're coming into full bloom. So see what is coming up. It's a blessing. Because nothing that is coming up ultimately determines anything about that which is I am, consciousness. Because everything at the level of mind, appearance, is an illusion. That is a valid reality because it has to feel valid for us as consciousness to play as that. Right? So illusion and reality, one and the same, two sides of the same coin. The beauty of that. And Buddha sitting under the Bodhi tree is kind of symbolic for the tree of life. Yeah, the mind. Becoming one as the one mind. Becoming one with everything. And to knowing and celebrating whether our thinking mind knows it or not. Our Buddha nature. And that means celebrating what the Buddha nature in this moment may be playing as well. Whatever is right now, whatever even is thought as what I'm appearing as, is divinity, divine appearance, Divya. And in that radical joy of acceptance of what I am or what is, both are, everything is the same. More is sensed and seen. That's the path of joyful transformation. Transformation through presence, through play. Right? That's a sign with the bird saying yes, yes. So to a beautiful rest of your day. Much love. There's so much that's been coming forth that I'm very actually excited to share about what is happening at this time and the energies that are present, and it's coming through in new ways that I look forward to sharing with you very soon. As I was sharing, she came and she sat there, and I could sense her from the corner of my eye, just being there as if she was listening. And as I got done and I got up, she flew away. All of life is speaking to us, right here, right now. And we can sense that when we are present. Living and celebrating an awakened body, mind, world. Much love.